So here's the real question. How do dentists like you, who aren't willing to let insurance dictate how you will run your practice, who want to create incredibly profitable practices without sacrificing your time or sanity, how do you create the strategies to ensure your practice not only survives, but thrives in the 21st century? That's the blaring question. And Dr. Steve Schalintz is here to provide the answers. Welcome to Dental Practice Freedom Radio.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Dr. Steve Schalintz. I want to welcome you back to another episode of Dental Practice Freedom Radio. And today we are going to talk about one of my favorite subjects ever, multiple sources of income. So you might be asking yourself, what does this really have to do with dentistry? And it has everything to do with dentistry. And if you guys have been following my podcast, one of the things that you know is I'm always trying to push the envelope and expand my knowledge base and how I can best help my clients and my patients. And the reality is I've been working on this for the last 4 or 5 years, and I've done some things that work really, really well, and I've done some things that don't work very well. And I wanted to share this with you because I do think if you're a younger dentist, I actually believe the writing's on the wall a little bit, that a lot of younger dentists are seeing that if you rely only on dentistry as your main source of income, you're going to struggle. And you're going to struggle to really not get out of dentistry, but you always want to be in a place of freedom, right? So you always want to be operating from the mindset that I don't actually need to be doing something physically or working as a self-employed individual for a long period of time in order for me to create financial freedom for myself. And, I think the light bulb goes off for a lot of dentists, whether they work with me or not, when you really start to challenge them on this idea of passive income. Now, most dentists, when you talk about passive income, they immediately think stocks, bonds, real estate, 401ks, IRAs, and all those things are very important. I'm not saying they're not important, but I work with a lot of talented dentists that actually have some great entrepreneurial skills. And one of the things that I always challenge people on is, listen, you've got to find ways to monetize what it is you do very, very well. And the more you can monetize what it is you do very well that nobody else can do, the more successful you're going to be and the faster your financial freedom number is going to be hit. And so, one of the things that I challenge with a lot of my clients is how are you monetizing what it is you do? So if you just say, I'm just a dentist, right? You need to find ways to monetize your office differently than just doing crowns and fillings and even implants and all those things. You need to find a way to turn your practice into a profit center. And the reality is, sometimes dentists get a bad rep for that. They go, well, I just want to help people. Listen. If you want to help people at the highest level, you need to be incredibly profitable. Because I will tell you from firsthand experience, when my coaching business has been profitable versus non-profitable, when my coaching business is non-profitable, guess what? I'm not helping anybody, right? When my coaching business is profitable, I'm actually able to help more people. I'm able to hire out team members. I'm able to hire out assistants. I'm able to do more things at a much more rapid rate. That allows me to scale my business, which allows me to help more people, which allows me to monetize it better, which allows me to be more profitable. So you continue this upward cycle and this upward spiral of growth versus living in the scarcity mentality where I don't have enough money to invest back into my business. I'm not profitable on the front end. And so you really have to start to think about, if you are at this point. Now, this episode isn't going to be for everybody, but I truly believe that most people that are listening to this could benefit. The first thing you have to do is figure out where the majority of your income actually comes from. And Bob Proctor talks a lot about these 3 different income strategies, M1, M2, M3. M1 is you trade your time for money. It's your physical skills. As a dentist, it's you doing the dentistry. It's you sitting at the chair doing the dentistry. Now, don't get me wrong, you can be highly compensated for that, and that's very important. But you can't do that for the lifetime of your business if you really do want to have financial freedom, because the second you stop working, your income level stops. So immediately you have to start to go to an M2 or M3 strategy. Now, M2 strategies is you trade money for more money. And, common examples are stocks, bonds, real estate, 401ks. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm not going to give you financial advice. And in fact, that's something that I'm continually working on as well. So I by no means have this knocked, but and ice cold. But the reality is, I hear a lot of people talk about 401ks, and just from a financial standpoint, it makes no sense to me. I'm sorry, my clothes are being spun out in the cycle, so if you can hear it, I apologize. But as you're going through and you're starting to think about 401ks and IRAs, if I'm a 30-year-old, I've always felt a little bit uneasy in the fact that I'm putting money away that I can't touch until I'm 60 or 65 without taking a penalty. Now, that's just me personally. So again, I'm not giving financial advice, but I want to find different ways to make money with my money. And so Bob talks about the M3 strategy, which is all about trading your time for money. So you multiply your time by creating multiple sources of income. And so you can look at the most successful individuals when it comes to wealth creation, and they're not relying on just one source of income. They might have 6, 7, 8, 9 sources of income. It's not just tied to the practice. I know very successful dentists, what do? They buy franchises. They buy add-ons to their dental office. They add associates, and the associates bring them in revenue. And so my model, the way that I teach, I focus a lot more on creating a smaller practice where the dentists get so good at their technical skills, they're able to generate a lot more profitability per hour. And then they're able to take that profitability and then move into other business ventures, because that's just my own personal experience. I've had associates before in the past. I've done that model, and I find it's very, very stressful for me. It's hard for me to control the dental environment because there's so many moving pieces that it's actually not where I want to put a lot of my time, energy, and attention. I'd rather be able to take the money that I'm taking in and invest it into other resources. Now, the reality is, as you start this journey, as you start to think about where you want your money to go, you have to understand that you've got to start close to home. And this is where a lot of dentists, I think, make a mistake if they're kind of branching outside of dentistry. They might venture into network marketing. And when they venture into network marketing, for example, it's so divergent that it doesn't make sense for them. They can't take the skills from dentistry and put it into network marketing. So they struggle, and they don't have the time, they don't have the energy, they don't see the results right away with network marketing. They think this is a scam, this really is a pyramid scam, and then they go back just to their dentistry. The issue with all of that is that what you realize is when you're starting to expand your multiple sources of income, you want to stay close to home, right? So it might be something in dentistry that allows you to generate further revenue. You might be able to take the network marketing and put it into your practice, help your patients. There might be some great products that you find. You can put it in your practice, and now you've been able to take network marketing but not be divergent, right? Now you're in your practice. And those are some things that you can think about. And Grant Cardone actually talks a lot about this, and it made a lot of sense to me, and that's why I'm passing it on to you, is you want to find a lane that you can stay in your current lane and then branch out just a little bit. So for me, when I started, it was all about, now that I've gotten my practice where I wanted, I really wanted to pursue my passion of coaching and mindset and wealth creation and really taking Bob's material and being able to impact more people at a greater level. But I started with dentist. I didn't start outside of the dental realm right away. Now I'm expanding into the non-dental and more of the entrepreneurial route, but I started with dentist. And why did I start with dentist? It was in my wheelhouse. I know how to take my dental skills and be able to teach others on how to increase their case acceptance, especially if you're a wellness-based practice. Like, that's my thing. So I started with that. That's how I was going to impact people. And then I started with some Bob Proctor material in and outside of dentistry. So I was able to take the next step. And then the next step is going to take Bob Proctor material outside of the dental realm and more into the entrepreneurial realm. And then the next step might be something else. So you understand, like, you basically have this small circle in the middle. This is your dental practice, right? If that's your main source of income. And then you want to look to expand that circle, but don't go too far outside the dental practice when you start, so that you can keep your bases, all your ducks in a row. And you might add, maybe you're really good as an endodontist, or maybe you're good coaching other dentists as well. And so maybe you start your own coaching and consulting business, and you just expand just a little bit. And then you get successful at that, you expand a little bit more. And so you're keeping this in here. You're keeping it in this tight base. I'm not saying you don't take your money and invest it or pay down debt or things like that. But when you're starting to increase your sources of income, the number one issue that I've seen is people are way too scattered. And myself included, this has been an ongoing journey for me for the last few years, is really figuring out who am I best serving? How am I best serving them? And how am I going to stay profitable as a coach, right? So that took years for me to figure that out. And now I'm just in a position to where I want to expand that a little bit. It took years, and so, a lot of dentists, they'll get kind of sidetracked and start to think, okay, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. And when you start focusing on all these other income sources, what you realize is you stopped feeding the thing that allowed you to do it, which might be your practice, for example. And so I really encourage you, if you're looking to increase your sources of income, maybe you're thinking about starting a coaching business yourself, or maybe you're thinking about finally putting together an online course or whatever that is for you. I spend a lot of time on case acceptance. Is what I do. But my passions outside of dentistry are all about helping entrepreneurs grow their businesses. And so if you're having problems with that, I encourage you, there's going to be a link to schedule a coaching call with me. Go ahead and schedule a coaching call, whether it's case acceptance or just expanding your business and taking on multiple sources of income. And how do you do that? And how do you do it effectively? I'm here to help you. So hopefully you got value out of this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. I would really appreciate a review and a rating. And I'm here for you. If you need me at all, do not hesitate to schedule a coaching call. There's no pressure on those calls. It's really just trying to help me identify where you're at, where you want to go, and how do I help you get there. So you guys have a great night. If you are listening to this, was recorded at 7:00 on a Sunday, and I apologize again about my washing machine. If you did hear that in the background, it was spinning my clothes out so I can get to work tomorrow. And I just appreciate you guys listening, and I'll see you at the next episode.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode on Dental Practice Freedom Radio with Dr. Steve Schlitz. We'll see you on the next episode.